Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. It's been a while, but not long. As you know, I have been the curator of the Smithsonian Institute of Modern Riffage for many a year. In fact, this is 20th year. 20 years, believe it or not, that I have curated such tones as you know so well and love with all your heart. We'll have a look at the guitars first, which is obviously where it all starts. Oh, well, it starts with him, and then it starts with the guitar. So, but we haven't got his fingers here to play with, so unfortunately we'll have to start at the second point, which is his guitars. And obviously there's all the tomfoolery that goes with it, which is including his hats. We have various hats that are required for different moods. We've got fish. We also, if you spot the curtains during certain sort of mellow moments, you'll occasionally see a car just meandering down the river that is the set curtains. Got various drawings by my lovely daughter, who would be totally embarrassed now because she's actually 11, and when she drew these, she was slightly younger and couldn't spell properly. So, but that's all fine. Guitar-wise, as per I think the last time I talked to all you guys, he's using his signature trans green with a sort of a relic neck. I think they're selling this, but they're selling it with a maple neck, and this is like the prototype version of it. I might be wrong. I never look at the website. I should do, but there's the breaks. Normally end up listening to cricket rather than the guitar websites. But there you go. And then so I think that is what the actual production model will be, which is the same. It's just got like this mapley sort of neck, and then really we've got these drop D guitars, which he uses for things like Madness, Heaven Can Wait, that kind of thing. Got his Les Paul Classic and a custom, uses the Classic for Time Machine. There you go. We've got the V, which I'm sure hasn't been out on the tour yet, but I'm sure it'll make an appearance. And obviously we've got the 2 Minutes to Midnight guitar, the hand-painted one, which he hasn't played on this tour, but he's been thinking about it. It's a good thing with Adrian, he just kind of he does his thing, but every now and again he'll go, you know what? And this is normally in the middle of a show. He'll just go, you know what? Let's play that. And it's like, yeah, cool. Keeps me on my toes. But this is what we use on writing on the wall. It's a PRS, and our lovely friends at PRS, Jez, sent us a couple of these. We used some in the studio when we were recording Shinjitsu in Paris, and then he very kindly lets us have another couple to use on the road. So that's that little bad boy. And obviously, once his fingers have touched the strings of destiny, magically through the air, because we don't use cables like the other incumbents, the tones fly magically through the air and land over here. Not much has changed per se. We've got the Marshall JVM 410 heads, which we've used for quite a few years. Now that one's got its own custom little hat on, because we were getting some strange messages from outer space coming in. So growing up with 50s sci-fi, I know that if you put a tin colander on your head, none of the messages get in. That's what I did to that. Our ground control Pro, which controls all the amps, all the effects, and the loop switching system, which we use the pedals. I'll come to that in a second. I've got one here, Adrian's got one in the front, so that I do a lot of his switching during a show, just so that he can concentrate on what he's doing. He's the money shot, and I just kind of curate, as I said, behind him. The rack itself, still got a Furman power distribution just to keep it nice and smooth and steady and protected. Got my Whirlwind 4-way multi-selector, so the 4 wireless channels. It's a Shure Axiom wireless system. Been using that for about 3 or 4 years now. It's a good system, very nice. The 4 lines of that come out there into the multi-selector there. From there, it will come into my layel. So I've got a radio cable if the radio goes down, and a mute. And from there, the signal passes down to our Jim Dunlop custom shop Crybaby wire systems. Been using these for years, so he's got a controller for that out front with him. From there, it then goes into our Voodoo Lab GCX loop switcher. So what that does, the signal goes in and the signal comes out the back end, but it also has loops, and on each of the loops we have the various pedals, these various stomp boxes, and if you look at the board up here, I can just punch them in and out like a little game of whack-a-mole sometimes when you don't know what's going on, so just press them all very fast. It sounds great. So that's this controls this, which then brings all these in and out of play. Out of there, that's also where a lot of our MIDI is sourced from. It will send MIDI signals that go to the various amps, various effects, and the various loops. So it just turns things on, turns things off, switches channels. The signal can go into it and come out without anything actually happening to it. Only ever anything will happen is when you press in or out on one of the effects you want to use. But some of the time we don't use any of the effects, the signal just goes straight in, straight out. It's an unaffected signal, and it then goes into our HX effects. Before, he used to use a Lexicon MX200, 300 depending, for his choruses, delays, reverbs. So we're now using this again. It just gives a little bit more, gives you more options, because we can also add pedals using like the 4-cable method. You might have to Google that one if you don't know it already. It means we can use part of the processing on the front end of the amp and then still have the delays and reverbs going in on the post-preamp section. If I want to add, I don't want to add anything. If Adrian wants to add anything, we can add more stomp boxes. So rather than physically having them in the rack, we could just add them in anywhere along the effects chain. The signal then comes out of there into the amp, then back from the amp into here to pick up his delays and his choruses and his reverbs, and then back in on the effects return of the amp. I've got all his solos are in here. We've got just different delay times for various solos depending on the BPM of the song. And like I say, it's all freshly wired, nice colour coding, you know. Very few black cables in here now. Gone for blues, greens and yellows, you know, just to give it a bit of... Basically, as I get older, my eyesight is getting worse, and when you look in the back of a rack, when it's all going to hell in a handbasket and every single cable is black, it's, you know, it's difficult. So I'll just go for a nice new colour scheme. Down at the bottom, I've just got my Fisher amps. It's just a battery charger, rechargeable battery charger. No branding there, obviously, and it just means we're not using loads of different batteries every day and throwing them away, you know, so trying to do a little bit for the planet if we can. And again, I've got the same down here, which is the Shure batteries, which we use for his wireless packs for the Shure Accent system, and also use it for our in-ear packs, which are these little bad boys again. It's the Shure system, stereo, very nice, and use my Jerry Harvey ears to listen to what he's doing when he's doing it. I've got my bingo machine, so we get bored during gigs, so we now play bingo. But no, it's not actually for bingo. So this is just my talk mic, so I can speak to Tater, who you may or may not have seen on video yet. I'm sure he'll be coming because he's a bit of a superstar. And this is just an extension of some of the channels on the desk that Adrian uses, so that if he comes back and says to me, oh, I need a bit more of this, and Tater's doing something over there, I can just adjust the channels and the mixes that are that Tater's created on his desk. They're mirrored here, and I can just adjust them as and when I need to, you know. So he'll come back and say, oh, can I have a bit more vocal, have a bit more guitar, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just be like, wait. And then I'll most probably tell Tater, because it's a bit of a disconcerting feeling, because he'll be standing there thinking everything's fine, and then suddenly his faders will start moving. And so that's a little new and cheeky addition. Still got his ears rack, which again, I just use this with a couple of ISO cabs just to get a nice tighter sound for his in-ear monitors. Again, just the JVM 410s, and again, we have the HX effects, which this isn't running in 4 cable mode. For those of you who in the intervening minutes have been googling what the hell is he talking about, this is running a little bit more standard, because there is no standard these days. You do pretty much what you want. But this is just a signal in, and then it splits left and right and goes to his ears. So that's all that. Oh, I have a mat. I stand on a mat now. I rest my feet. So this is very nice and squidgy. You see them in a lot of offices when people stand up working, because it's just nice and comfortable. So I think that's pretty much everything. So now you've got a little bit more information. You can pester me in the street and go, but I thought you said, and I'll go, did I? I don't know. Let's watch it back. Let's see. So, any questions on a postcard? And thank you very much. Sayonara.